And freeze, as is the tradition. Good evening, everyone. Good afternoon, good morning, good whatever time it is, wherever you are. I'll tell you exactly what time it is here. It's time for one of these. Cheers, everyone. And welcome to another live stream. I suppose this video will prove to be something of a rarity at the moment, an unusual video on YouTube, because unlike pretty much every other YouTube video that's been suggested for me to watch this week, it doesn't feature a Tom DeLonge Fender Starcaster. Has anyone noticed? They're really pushing that guitar, aren't they? That and the that little mini Tonex pedal. But neither of those feature on this channel at the moment. Certainly, I have absolutely no plans to check out the Tom DeLonge Starcaster. The Tonex, maybe. Curiosity might get the better of me on that one. I'll keep you posted. But anyway, let's see who's in. Let's do the roll call. I see Terry Day is first in this week, followed very swiftly by Dave Fiendish, PFY Guitars, Johnny Random, and David James. Then we've got Ian Mason. We're going to be looking at some of your guitars later, mate. Relaxing Meditation is in, so is Sean House, Anton, Maria Davies, Fiend Tunes, and Peter Collins. There's Mark Kerno, and what you saying there, Grandpa Joe? Hello, John, and all Fattercasters. To all, thank you for making the Friday beer o'clock streams a fun and happy place to be. It's like therapy. John brings us together for an hour of sanity. Oh, I don't know about that, mate. Some might question that, certainly of me anyway, but nice of you to say so, Grandpa Joe there. Then we got Torquemada 64. That's I don't think we've seen you around these parts before, have we, mate? Then we got Rent to Kill, and Peter Nicholson is in, and then we got Dr. Gomez 1, Cylon Hybrid, Malcolm Thompson, Rubbish Guitar Bloke is in, so is Frank Bolam, Savvy 64, John Ross, Robert Z or Robert Z. I always forget which way around that is. Oh, hang on, Torquemada's, yeah. By the way, everyone, I've changed my handle name from Rob Ball to Torquemada 64, in case you were wondering. Oh, so you're not new to this parish, then, are you, mate? Yes, you've just assumed a different nom de plume, as they say. Then we got Robster Boy, Steve Entwistle, Nathan is in, so is Luke's, Joe McMurray, Jimmy James, Stephen Hedger is in. It's that time of the week for when the beer and banter flow. Looking forward to sampling a few San Miguel's. Oh, good for you, mate. Then we got David Evans, Ben Allmark. There, who else have we got? We got Gary Shaw. Nice to see you, mate. Robert Forsyth, Chris Otterwell, Dave Lewis, Ian Clark on a mug of tea. Yes, you must be a clean living kind of chap there, Ian. Then we got 60s Man, Mississippi Blues, Jeff Hoover, and Calby in the Rocco Cat. There's Deco Dude. And who else we got? John Mack, Michael Purcell, Blue Sofa Songs, Peter Goddard, 1960. What are you saying there, Blue Sofa Songs? Happy Friday, everyone. It's come around so quickly. I have a new song upload at 5 p.m, so please check it out if you get the chance. It's a bit raw, but rock and roll is raw. Of course it is, mate. Just chuck us a link in the chat, or in the chat. I can't think there's anywhere else for you to put it. Yeah, chuck the link in. And I think I need to make you a mod to do that, don't I? So I don't know how to do that. Yes. Try chucking a link in, and if somebody can advise me on how to make someone a mod, if they need to put a link in the chat. I don't know. This is all above my pay grade usually. Who else have we got? We got Peter S. We got Mott the Hoople 2010. Who's they've relaunched Cronenberg 1664. They've done a Stella and dropped the alcohol content to 4.6%, but it's on special offer in Asda and comes with a free ice bucket. I saw the relaunch packaging and I just thought it was some 0% muck that they'd brought out. So I shall be giving that a wide berth, I think. Yes, in case anyone's interested, this evening's nonsense is powered by Carlsberg Export, because it was on offer in Morrison's. Who else we got? We've got Colin Falcon is in. So is John Channing and Peter S. We've got Cal Texper there, and Bill Mumbo, and who else we got? Paul Coleman, and Graham Campbell is there. So is Neil Roberts, Brad Dowell. Anyone else? Steve Cassidy. Thanks for the shout out in your live stream yesterday, mate. I always watch it on catch up on a Friday morning because I'm usually working when you go live. But thanks for the shout out, mate. Good stream. And don't forget, everyone, Steve's regular Friday upload goes out at 6 p.m. straight after this. So you probably just got time to go and kind of pour yourself another pint and go and take care of the call of nature, and then you can head off over and see Steve straight after me. Who else we got? We got Mickey Walnuts, we got James Hunt, we got Macaroon, we got Luke's, we've got Ivor, we've got anyone else? There's Sam Milverton and Maria Davies. Did I say you already? I think I did, but never mind. You got a second mention there. We've got Shane Allen. Anyone else? We've got I think Peter Goddard. I might have said you already. Metalman 666, Belco 73, and I think that's Jay Ao Young is there. John McDonald Jr., Randy Upchurch, Martin Bix, and I think that's pretty much everyone. Michael Purcell is saying don't distance 0%. Well, I'll be honest with you. If I'm drinking something that tastes like beer, I want it to have the required effect. If I'm in a situation where I can't have a beer, then to be honest, I'd rather just have an orange juice or a lemonade or something. But each to their own, as they say. Right, let's tell you what's coming up on the channel this week. But before I do that, I'm going to have another little bit of lubrication. Oh, you're welcome, Steve Cassidy, mate. No problem at all. Steve saying cheers for the shout out. Oh, we've got Marvellous Bloke in. I just see, yes, yeah. Timekeeping, mate. It matters to some people. And Ian Mason saying you're lucky if it actually tastes like beer. Indeed. I once tried the last alcohol-free beer I ever tried. Was, do you remember that? I don't know if you can still get it, but it was around in the 80s. It was called Caliber, and it tasted like, well, paint stripper, really. Not my favourite kind of thing. Anyway, and what's coming up on the channel this week? On Sunday, it is a comparison video. And the story behind this is that whenever I get a new-ish Telecaster style guitar, I always think, let's compare it to a Les Paul, because Telecasters and Les Pauls sound very much alike. A Les Paul is basically a Telecaster on steroids. I've done this comparison quite a few times now, and it's always like, well, no, they don't sound that alike, really. But I haven't done a comparison with this guitar and a Les Paul, which might turn out to be a little bit closer, because this is technically, that's a humbucker, so it's a HH guitar. Will it sound like a Les Paul? Well, you'll have to wait until Sunday to find out if you can tell any difference. I think that's another one of the videos where Dougal makes an appearance in the kind of name of keeping it a blind test. So that is Sunday's video. Then Monday, the solo analysis videos, I keep doing them because I enjoy doing them, and it drums up business for the tuition side of things. And, it gives me an excuse to put content upon Patreon. But the Monday solo analysis videos, in the cold light of day, they are the amongst the worst performing videos on the channel. But as I say, I enjoy doing them, and it also gives me resources that I can use in my lessons, because I can use the tabs and backing tracks and stuff, with me private students. But I'm expecting Monday's video to be, shall we say, towards the lower end of the average number of views for the solo analysis videos, because it's by a band. It's a solo by a band that you've probably never heard of, but you really need to hear of them. A band I've just discovered called Bad Touch. Imagine a cross between Led Zeppelin and the Black Crowes. Imagine that kind of gritty, bluesy, kind of hard rocking kind of sound, and you're somewhere near it with Bad Touch. If you know them already, let me know in the chat. But we're doing one of their solos on Monday, and then continuing the theme of new bands. That's what I'm talking about on Tuesday. New bands that I've discovered recently. Mainly, it has to be said, through that feature of Spotify, where you get to the end of an album and it just continues playing music based upon, you know, the music you've been listening to. Sorry, lost. You know when you have a brain fart and you lose your train of thought? Steve Cassidy saying, to make mods you have to do it on the YouTube chat window. Oh, right, okay, we can do that. The only problem is I haven't got the YouTube chat window up at the moment. But thanks for future reference, mate. So, yeah, 5 new bands that I've recently discovered, mainly courtesy of Spotify. Then Wednesday viewers question, what are you saying there, Dave Evans? About the session wire thing. Yeah, you were telling me about that earlier, weren't you, Dave? Yeah, session wire. It's a thing where you can sort of collaborate online musically. I might just check that out. Yeah, Wednesday's video. Sorry, I lost my train of thought again there. How professional of me. Viewers question. And it's all about knowing what key you're in. Again, it's a lesson type video, so those tend to get towards the lower end of the views. But I enjoy doing them because I enjoy providing that service. So if you have any question or query of a guitar or music related nature, then get in touch and let me know what's on your mind. You can email me via my website, johnrobsonmusic.co.uk, or you can just use my email address, jrguitartuition@gmail.com. So basically another viewers question video on Wednesday. And then on Thursday, it's going to be the first impressions video of this guitar that you might have seen me unboxing on the stream a couple of weeks ago. How long ago did I unbox this on the stream? Anyway, this guitar, this rather nice Harley Benton single cut, which has had, since it's been here, a modification or two done to it, but not in time for the video that you're going to see on Thursday. But I'll tell you all about what the modification is when the time comes to do that video. But the first impression video will be on Thursday, and that pretty much takes us to this week's schedule. So and then we're back on the beer again because it's Friday after that, isn't it? Maria Davies is saying that's lush. It is a nice looking guitar, and it punches well above its weight. I know that when I do any kind of video with a Harley Benton guitar, the comment section is going to be divided between, the people who say that they're basically made out of, plywood, bubble gum and snot, and the people who say that that they are professional quality instruments. I tend to err towards the latter. In fact, what was he called? I always forget his name. Scott Pawley, is it? The guy who's touring with the Fleetwood Mac tribute band across the States. And he did a tour with a Harley Benton ST20 that he bought used for about 50 quid. And playing like, stadium gigs with it. Well, not stadium, but arena gigs. Craig Staмен's in. How are you, mate? Jay Aoyong's saying they're not made of plywood. Oh, we got the Lamb in. Nice to see you, mate. I keep missing your Monday live stream because I have this kind of this annoying thing that I have to do called work. Thank you, by the way, everyone who left very complimentary comments on yesterday's video about a typical day in the life of a fat, bald northern lad who talks about guitars for a living. It's I will admit, put in a long shift every day, but you know what? It beats working for a living. It really does. People say, "Oh, you work really hard." No, a lumberjack works hard. Somebody who digs coal out the ground works hard. Somebody that shovels manure in a farmyard, they work hard. I just sit in front of a webcam and talk about guitars all day. Talk about living the dream. Steve Cassidy saying, anyone seen the new Gordon Smith Geist guitars? I haven't, mate. I keep an eye on the Gordon Smith website, but I haven't been over there for a couple of weeks. The last new one I saw from them was the Gatsby, and that was an offset, and therefore has absolutely no appeal to me. I just something about offset guitars for the most part just don't do it for me, I'm afraid. The Lamb saying working at 7 p.m. shouldn't be allowed. You need to get in the union. I work on a Monday until most Mondays 8 o'clock, but some Mondays 9 p.m. That's just it's like somebody wants a lesson. What are you going to do? Turn them down? Send them to the competition? So you just kind of say yeah. And what I'm doing at the moment, just to kind of give you a little bit of an insight, is we are this close to having the mortgage finally paid off, and I'm just kind of like a hamster on a treadmill on the wheel, running for all that I can while there's still work there, because you never, being self-employed, you never know when you're going to have a good year or a bad year, a good month or a bad month. So I'm just kind of grabbing it while I can, and once the mortgage is finally gone, that's when I'll take it easy. I might even do a retirement video. I won't be retiring from YouTube, by the way. I shall still be, fear not, because this isn't. I always say to the missus about 10 to 5 on a Friday, as I've got my little kind of cool bag. Here it is, full of beer. And I'm coming up myself, just off to work, darling. And she says, don't take the piss. I don't normally swear, but that is what she says, But this isn't work. This is this isn't something I would retire from. But what you saying there, Michael Broadhead? Let's have a look. Have you already done a review of the Squire Contemporary Telly? It looks perfect, but I'd love your opinion. It is on my to-do list, mate. It is on my to-do list. There are a couple of Squires that I'd like to like to kind of get my hands on. I don't know why, because my thoughts on Strat style guitars. I don't dislike Strats, but I was a Strataholic for a couple of decades, and then I just sort of I was over them. And it's like there hasn't been a Strat that's really interested me in I can't tell you how long. Even the Sire S7, brilliant guitar if you like Strats, and I just never ever really played it when I had one. But I find myself on eBay, just scrolling on the app on my phone, and for some reason I'm looking at Squire Classic Vibes Strats a lot. There's one that I'm looking at the moment that is just the absolute, in the pictures, it's the absolute kind of double of like an early kind of Hank Marvin Strat with the kind of, the kind of, what's the colour? Fiesta red with, and it just looks, I've nearly kind of hit the buy it now a couple of times. We shall see. But I'm not exactly gassing for one, but it does strike me that, like when was it last week or the week before when I put out an SOS, saying, has anybody who lives local to me got a Strat that I can borrow for a video? That video is coming up in a few weeks' time, by the way. I should really have a Strat. I've got the Nashville Telecaster on the back wall there, and I've been playing that a bit this week, actually. Lovely guitar. Thank you, Joe, by the way. My mate in the States, Joe, who bought me that guitar. But it does the Strat thing, but when I need a Strat to do a comparison with, I know if I did a comparison saying, and this is what we're going to compare this to, and it's a Strat really, but there's always going to be somebody in the comments that says that's not a proper Strat. So I'm thinking maybe I should have one just out of like a completeness kind of sensibility, really. Let's have a look. Jay How Young Sing, an old flame rekindled. But yeah, getting back to the question, the Squire Contemporary Telly is on my list. I know there's a certain chap in the chat tonight, Robster Boy, who has one, and he absolutely sings its praises. Kind of to high heaven. He's a real fan of that guitar. So yeah, watch this space. Squire Contemporary Strat. Terry Day is saying, where's that gone? Anyone tried the Andertons East Coast Telly type for £99? I haven't, but I did include an East Coast guitar in the sort of 5 ideal beginner guitars a while ago. It wasn't the Telly though. I played the Strat version, and it was a nice guitar. It certainly didn't feel like, however much it cost. Ian Clark, what are you saying there, mate? What was the point of the double A side single back in the old days of 45 RPM vinyl? I never understood it. The point of it was, Ian, that all singles had to have a B side, and radio stations rarely ever played the B side. So that was the opportunity for a band to just use, it's not good enough to go on the A side. We might throw it on as an album track, but it's a B side. It'll take up one side of the single. If they had a song that wasn't really kind of something they were proud of, because they knew it would just kind of probably never get played, or certainly not on the radio. But a double A side, it was like, I think radio DJs were encouraged to play both sides of it from time to time. That was the idea, I believe. It was like if the band were kind of especially proud of the song, and they couldn't decide which song should be the A side of the single, which song should be the single, which should be the B side. It was a case of, well, we'll call it a double A side. Now, there's an idea for a top 5 video, top 5 B sides. I did something similar a while ago. I think top 5 bonus tracks. Because when you buy like a reissue album or something and it's got previously unheard material on it as bonus tracks, I did a video on the top 5 of those. I don't think I've ever done a top 5 B-sides single. So watch this space for that one. Apparently Colin Guitaristas did a video on the East Coast Telly last Friday. I haven't seen that. Let's have a look. What are you saying there, Kevin Hardy? I have my USA Standard Strat from 2013. I had many before that one, but the USA Strat these days is totally out of the question, with the Pro 2 being over £600. Even made in Mexico player is over £700. Yeah, I mean, I've played, just from students that have brought them to the lessons, various made in Mexico Fenders of late. And I've played some that are absolutely heavenly. There's a chap called Adam who has lessons with me, and he had, I think it was a guitar exclusive made in Mexico, the Player Series Strat, and it was absolutely spectacular. Just like properly nice. You could have thought this is a custom shop guitar, really properly nice. And then, you play others and they've got like really nasty fret buzz and sharp fret ends and just don't look like they've been through any kind of quality control at all. So when people ask me, should I get a made in Mexico, like a Player Series Telly or a Strat or something, try before you buy. I mean, as I said in last Tuesday's video, guitars that I'm gassing for, the Fender Player HH Telecaster is one that's kind of in my sights at the moment, but I wouldn't buy one online. I would try before I bought, because you don't know. The quality is variable, certainly in the ones that I've tried in the last year or 18 months or so. Stephen Hedger, what you saying there, mate? John, I've just sold my USA Strat and placed it with a 30-year-old Japanese Strat I picked up on eBay. Can't wait for it to arrive tomorrow. Those early 90s made in Japan Strats were just the absolute nuts. I had one, and it was my main guitar for just like most of my, all of my gigs. I bought it, when did I buy it? In 89 or 1990. It ended up with jumbo frets in it, courtesy of the late lamented Jim Cairns, local legend luthier and guitar tech of this parish. And he put jumbo frets in it for me, and I ended up having EMG pickups in it, and that guitar played in blues bands, it played in top 40 bands, function bands, country bands. It was just a real workhorse guitar. And I eventually, that was the guitar where I thought, I'm going to try a Telecaster. And I bought a Fender Light Ash Telecaster, and it was like, oh my God, this is good. And I sort of became a Telecaster addict overnight. And I think that was the start of me kind of not really being the kind of the Strataholic that I once was. Mickey Walnut, you raise a good point there. Talking about Strat prices, Peach guitars are currently selling master-built Strats for nearly 12k. Yes, that's right, you read £12,000. You see, does anyone remember from the 1990s a documentary called Curves, Contours and Body Horns? And it was a celebration of the Fender Stratocaster. It was on UK TV, and there was featured interviews with like Keith Richards and Eric Clapton and who else? Paul Rodgers. Loads of like famous musicians were talking about Stratocasters. And there was Nile Rodgers was on it with his famous Hitmaker Strat. And one thing that they kind of stressed in that documentary was that Leo Fender was very conscious that he was building guitars for blue-collar working musicians. That's what his ethos was. He wanted to make mass-produced instruments of high quality for working musicians. And when you get, kind of hand-built replicas of something that was originally designed to be a mass-produced instrument, it sort of boils my brain a little bit. It just sort of it doesn't compute. It's like I guess the analogy, if you were kind of comparing it to cars, would be like getting some expensive and exclusive coach building company like Vanden Plat or whoever. I don't know much about cars, but I do know that name. But some exclusive, kind of company to make a Mini or a Ford Fiesta or something like that. It's sort of, it just doesn't compute with me. But there it is, I suppose. And the thing is nowadays, when any guitars that I see from the Fender Custom Shop, it's all just about making something that looks like it's been buried in a peat bog for 40 years. You know, the whole relicking thing. You know, I always thought that, I remember reading in Guitarist magazine, gosh, decades ago, about the Fender Custom Shop opening, and it was like you could have a custom built guitar made by Fender. So you could kind of contact Fender, the Fender Custom Shop, and I remember the one phrase in the interview that they were doing with this guy who was like the kind of running it at the time. Can't remember the name, but I think it was Neville Martin from Guitarist magazine said, so if people got in touch with you and said, I absolutely have to have a Fender Flying V, then would you be able to make one? And said, sure, as long as it's feasible to build as a guitar. I don't know if Fender Custom Shops still do that, if you can just kind of get in touch with them and say, I want you to build me a guitar with these specifications, or whether it's just about churning out kind of ridiculously expensive recreations of what was a 1950s or 60s mass-produced production line instrument. I don't know. It's not my wheelhouse, I can tell you. What are you saying there, Lammy? Almost every relic wear pattern I see out of the custom shop makes no sense. Worn in all the weirdest places that would never happen through playwear. I can't say, I mean, I'm not disputing that, but I can't really say that it's something that I've ever noticed because, I don't really look at that side of things, really. Anton saying, John, I bet you do if you have the money. Yes. Craig Stamen, my HM Strat is a natural relic. It's over 30 years of gigging. Yes, indeed. I used to have one of those, a Fender heavy metal Strat. I can't remember if it was HSH or HSS. But it was in that shade of pink that you see absolutely nowhere in nature. Do you know what I mean? It was like that real kind of chemical pink, and with a Carla Spider tremolo on it. That really sealed my my loathing of locking tremolos. Let's have a look, see what else I've missed in the chat while I've been blethering and ranting. Michael Purcell is saying, looking at KDH's video about guitar shopping, those are mighty expensive guitars. Indeed they are. And that's another guitar that almost made it onto my lottery win list, by the way, the Sir Pete Thorne. The HH version, not the HSS version. So the first Sir Pete Thorne in like the gold finish, that sort of almost made it there. But do you know what? It's like, I don't know. Something tells me about Sir guitars that they're probably, they're probably worth it, or they're probably just not worth it, because worth is a very subjective word, isn't it? They are probably, you can probably justify the price when you look at the man hours that go into making them. Cal B and the Rocco Cat saying, I've stopped watching the expensive guitar channels. Yeah, I don't say that I made a conscious decision to stop watching any guitar channel, but as you saw, if you watched my video yesterday about a typical day in the life of a fat, bald northern bloke, it's not that I've made a decision, I'm not going to watch that channel, I'm not going to watch that channel. It's just a case I get so little time to watch YouTube videos that something has to really grab my attention to make me watch it. And it's rare that some, kind of bespoke, boutique, high-end, kind of millionaire guitar that's being reviewed will ever really kind of grab my attention. Talking about such things, we're changing the subject sort of, but we're still talking about YouTube guitar channels. Did anyone else see that Phil McKnight video about that acoustic guitar with the rubber bridge and the blade Hot Rails humbucker kind of grafted onto the sound hole, and have to check your phone to see what date it was? Because I thought, is this an April Fool? But it wasn't on April the 1st, and it was like, it hadn't been uploaded then. It was like sort of, it's like this is well after the April Fool's Day, but a guitar with a rubber bridge that has all of the sustain and resonance and acoustic kind of charm of a plastic ukulele, and then they've grafted a Hot Rails humbucker onto the sound hole. What was that all about? That was just, anyone else see that video? What are you saying, James Hunt? Maybe a bit of 3-in-1 oil for that chair wouldn't go amiss. I'll have you know, I paid 5 whole English pounds for this chair, but you're right, it is squeaking a bit, isn't it? So, yes, I'll get the WD-40 out. What else have I missed in the chat? Let's have a look. Where are we? The Gizmo Builder, Harley Benton just got one of their PRS lookalike. It's great. Yeah, I had one. It was quite a sentimental guitar for me, that one, for reasons I won't go into here, but are well documented. I had one, and now they come with stainless steel frets, so I'm thinking, maybe. What we're saying? Sorry. Oh, how is Dougal, says Rent to Kill. He's absolutely fine. He's probably asleep at the moment because I got him tired out on the walk this afternoon. I saw a few Mesa Boogie amps are currently available in Germany. What's your opinion on them? Well, I really, really wanted one at one point. When I first started as a guitar teacher, I started under something that was called the Enterprise Support Scheme. It was a thing run by the UK government where basically you still got the equivalent of your unemployment money. Because I was briefly unemployed. I'd kind of got laid off from my job as a lab technician. And I was briefly unemployed for about maybe 3 or 4 months. And I thought, I want to be self-employed, so I'm going to become a guitar teacher. So I managed to get onto this enterprise support thing, and you still get your kind of unemployment money, and I think that was for 6 months to get your business off the ground. You get mentoring on how to do your accounts and all that sort of thing. And there were grants available for equipment you might need to set up your business. So, hello, and I really desperately wanted a Mesa Boogie Mark IV because that was like the new amp that everyone was talking about at the time. And a mate of mine, a guitar player who I have ultimate respect for, and I mention him every few weeks on the live stream, a chap called Andy Power. He just got one, and I was going to see his band. They had a residency at a blues club, near me. So I was going to see him every week, and he'd previously been playing through a Fender Pro 185. Which was like a sort of a solid state Fender twin channel amp. Looked a bit like a Fender twin if you kind of half shut your eyes. And he got this Boogie Mark IV, and just his tone was absolutely ridiculously good. So I thought, I'm going to get one of those. I have since heard that they are something of a demanding mistress. Because you've got so many kind of valves crammed into such a small amount of space in that kind of boogie amp footprint that there's a lot of heat, and circuit boards can kind of suffer and suffer malfunctions, and components can suffer heat damage. Those are the reports I've been told. But then again, Andy always kind of swore by his, and still does. I think he's still got it like 30 odd years later, and uses it to gig with. Last time I checked, Andy was gigging with an Elvis tribute act, by the way. Let's see what else I've mixed. Lan is saying a large part of that funding came from the European Social Fund. Brexit has seen most of that support long gone now. I've got to call you out on that one, mate. The funding that I was offered came from the Prince's Trust. What was the Prince Charles thing? That was, his sort of fund. Do you remember every year or so there'd be some big star-spangled kind of charity concert on TV in the late 80s, and it was always at the Prince's Trust. I had loads of VHSs of those. Eric Clapton and Mark Knopfler and Rod Stewart and Elton John and, Paul Young, I seem to remember being on one, and George Michael and, Paul McCartney, and it was like 2 hours. A 2-hour gig that was on the TV. So of course you got your kind of your BASF or TDK, kind of what was the VHS tape, and you kind of press play and record, and then take the tab out, and I'm going to watch this again and again and again, that was the Prince's Trust concerts. I don't think they'd survive now, would they? I don't think there'd be enough people who would, who would be a big enough draw. Perhaps I'm just being a kind of a boring old nostalgic fart. Stranger things have happened, I suppose. Anyway, excuse me, chaps. I just need a refill. So talk amongst yourselves, which you're doing anyway. Can I just say, by the way, that that is one of the things I absolutely love about this live stream. It's not just about me kind of sitting here drinking beer and, kind of holding court and spouting my dubious kind of wisdom. Flake, by the way, not a bad pour. I just love the fact that, that there are kind of people who would probably never have encountered each other or met. That because you watch my YouTube videos, you turn up here on a Friday and have a bit of a crack and have a bit of a laugh with each other and a bit of a chat. And it's, I just feel that's just so nice, So anyway, where were we? Let's have a look at the chat. Galaxy Ripple says Steve Cassidy guitar. David Evans, what are you saying, mate? John, we had an original Marshall JTM 45 combo, otherwise known as the Blues Breaker from 1962, but not anymore. It's a painful story, but for another time. Yeah, that was... it's always been one of my favourite Marshall tones, but in order to get the tone out of it that you want, which is, frankly, let's talk about, it's the Beano tone, isn't it? The Beano album tone. You've just got to have the thing at ridiculous loud volume. So I suppose you can use like some kind of power soak or something like that. But, or get something like the Tone X and kind of, play through a profile of it or something like that. I've never played, I don't think, through anything that's an actual amp profiler. And there is I played through plenty of amp modelers, but never through an amp profiler. So there is just that kind of little clanging bell in the back of my head, thinking maybe I should try one. Which is what I was saying earlier about the Tone X1 pedal. It's got me thinking, but I don't know. We shall have to see. If it's a choice between, I've got, kind of money to spend on stuff to do videos with, and it's either kind of a guitar or some pedal, then you know which is going to win, don't you? It's never going to be the pedal. Oh, no viewers' guitars this week. Oh, sorry, I got so carried away, I forgot. Yes, I forgot all about the viewers' guitars. Let's have a look at some viewers' guitars. I do apologise, I forgot all about that. So let's put up some pictures and have a little bit of a talk about the guitars, the pictures of guitars that you've sent in this week. Here we go. So I'm going to choose which screen to share. And here we go. There it is. This is a lovely Ibanez Iceman, belonging to none other than Dave Lewis. Lovely colour, that. That's, I think in the email where you sent this to me, it's you mentioned it's like a Les Paul, but just a different body shape. Yeah. I used to have one back in the 80s, and, it was... I can't remember why I got rid of it, to be honest with you. I think something else probably piqued my interest, and I was kind of trading and swapping and kind of buying and selling guitars all the time back then. Lovely looking guitar, mate. And yes, David Roberts, you naughty, naughty man. This looks like a Gibson Explorer, doesn't it? It looks very much like the Gibson Explorer that I had in here a couple of 3 weeks ago. It isn't. It's a Chibson. It's not something that I would go for, to be honest with you, because it's just that sort of whole kind of something pretending it to be what it isn't kind of vibe that I just kind of, it doesn't sit well with me, but I'm not judging, mate. It's, if you're happy with it, you say you're going to do a bit of modding on this, turn it into a modding platform. Well, good for you, mate. Let's see what's next. A couple of guitars courtesy of Farjon. A lovely looking American Professional 2 Stratocaster there. That's like the sort of Antigua burst that Fender used to do, isn't it? But in a much more attractive colour. And then a Fender Modern Player Strat, lovely looking pair of guitars there, mate. If you like Strats, and I'm sort of, I don't know, I'm kind of, as I said earlier, coming possibly back round to the idea of a Strat again. Couple of guitars here from the Gain Dane, pair of Jets. And I'm assuming you can see my mouse pointer kind of wiggling around here. This one looks incredibly like the one that a certain Mr. Cassidy uses for his as his main guitar that he's modded quite a bit. And I don't normally like this kind of burl kind of wood grain look, but I think it really looks kind of quite smart on that one. Yeah, lovely looking pair of guitars. I am struck by how many people are sending me pictures of S-type guitars. It seems to be the, maybe I am kind of a bit of an outlier in not appreciating that style as much. Maybe that's what's possibly changing my mind. A lovely looking guitar here, apart from the Floyd Rose, but this is a Samick Linda guitar belonging to George Wall. And then we've got another guitar belonging to George, a lovely Tokai single cut. That guitar there, that just looks like, if you remember concert footage of Dire Straits from the mid-80s, around about the Money for Nothing time, that guitar there looks the absolute double of Mark Knopfler's Les Paul that you used to see him playing quite a bit in videos and so on back then. Then we've got some Ian Cochran guitars, some parts casters. I'm not sure this is a parts caster though, is it, Ian? This is an Epiphone, looks like an Epiphone Les Paul custom there, but perhaps someone snuck in, by mistake. But this looks like a Paoletti body, because of the kind of odd scratch plate thing they've got, and that's a Fender neck there that's on that. But some lovely looking guitars. I do like this one here, by the way. I do like the kind of Hot Rails and humbucker at the neck. I have a guitar that's similar to that at the moment, you may have noticed. Then Ian Mason's guitars. Let's run along the line here. We have an Epiphone SG. It looks very much like the one I used to have briefly, the one that I had before the Yamaha Revstar, which I had before the Les Paul Tribute. Then this guitar you've seen on the channel. This is the Fender Japan Jazzmaster that I reviewed a few weeks ago. This is a Sire T7, I believe. Obviously, we can tell that's a PRS Silver Sky. And this, I believe, is we can tell by that headstock decal, can't we? Harley Benton HB 35 or possibly the 35 plus. And I had to actually email Ian back and say, what's the single cut on the end? That's a vintage lemon drop, which again you saw on the channel very recently. Not that one, but I played one of them. And a lovely looking display here, though. They all look to be the wrong way round, though, don't they? Sorry, mate, I know you're a southpaw. But yeah, some beautiful looking guitars here. I can't pretend that I remember what they all are. I mean, we can tell that's a Harley Benton TE90. What else have we got here? Harley Benton. That looks like the SC 450. And again, the Harley Benton HB 35 plus. What we got up here? Let's have a look. That is that a Kramer Focus guitar there? Not one I know. And this headstock shape here, we've got these on a couple of guitars. Endel, not sure what that is. And again, another Harley Benton here. That's probably the JA something or other. And can't tell what this T style is up here, but it's a impressive looking beast, isn't it? That's this week's gallery. I've decided to keep it down to a dozen a week so I don't ramble on too much, but some beautiful looking guitars there. I'm struck by how many people are kind of sending me pictures of their favorite S-type guitar or guitars. And I'm also struck by the fact that, I play guitar for a living and I have a lot less guitars than some of the people that are sending in pictures of guitars. So maybe I've got some catching up to do. Let's have a look. Torquemada 64. Thank God for Kleenex. Yes, I wonder what you're getting up to there. Yes, least said the better, I think, mate. Jimmy James is saying, yes, what a great lefty collection. Indeed it is. Yeah, Peter Shields. Beautifully displayed collection. That was Ian's guitars there, just kind of all lined up on the wall. Lovely display there. Because they are things to look at, aren't they? As much as anything else, it's like I sometimes, in between lessons, I'll just kind of turn around and just kind of look and go, yeah. Do you know what I mean? What else have I met? Rent to Kill saying it's not black; it's a very, very, very dark blue. There's someone who's watched a particular episode of Father Ted, which I shall be watching later. Let's have a look. Kevin Hartley saying, I see Knopfler's sold that Les Paul recently for over 600k at an auction. Yeah, it's... that Mark Knopfler auction was just, when you saw some of the prices they were going for, and it's like, just because, Mark's played them, well, not just because, but because Mark's played them, they stop being musical instruments at that point, don't they? They become collector's items. They're going to probably either live in a display case or a bank vault. So one thing I will give a massive shout out to Kirk Hammett for, with the Greenie Moore Les Paul that he owns now, that Les Paul, the one that is the same guitar which played on Albatross, Need Your Love So Bad, Oh Well, all of those great early Fleetwood Mac tunes and ended up being on Parisian Walkways and all the Gary Moore stuff. He bought that guitar and he takes it out on the road and gigs with it. Can you imagine the insurance premiums that Kirk Hammett or whoever is responsible for Metallica's kind of insurance premiums? Can you imagine the bill for putting that guitar into the back of a container and shipping it around the world for, it just makes your teeth itch, doesn't it? Maria Davies is saying, what flavour do you vape? I like menthol and blackcurrant. Yeah, I'm not big on the menthol ones there. What have I got at the moment? Hang on, I can tell you. This is Cafe Tobacco, which is a mixture of dark chocolate, pipe tobacco, and coffee, funnily enough. And it's just, there used to, back in the days when I smoked, there used to be, whenever I wanted to go out and, try and impress the opposite sex, I would, back in the 80s, I used to buy this brand of cigarettes called Freeburg and Trayer, long since gone out of business, but they came in this kind of lovely gold embossed box, and you could feel quite sophisticated and quite the playboy. And this Cafe Tobacco flavour reminds me of those. A few people talking about their favourite vape flavours. I go to plain tobacco flavour every few bottles just to kind of reset my palate. Otherwise, you get something known as vapor's tongue, where you stop noticing the flavour that you've that you're using, basically. What are you saying there, Lammy? Part of the joy of seeing Bonamassa live is getting to see all those beautiful guitars he brings along with him. I've never seen him live, mate. I've seen a couple of concert videos, but I've never seen him live. Mississippi Blues is saying, rest in peace, Mike. Yes, it's been a year, hasn't it? Since we lost CGS. I had that date kind of pop up on my phone earlier, and it's gone too soon. Let's raise a glass to Mike, China guitar skeptic, as was. You're a good lad, Mike. Michael Belivo's off to the beach. Jay How Young is saying vape is illegal in my country. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, mate. Although, there are rumblings in this country, but to talk about that would be to talk about politics, and I don't want to sully this channel with talk of such filthy matters as political shenanigans. What will happen, I suppose, if they do kind of the British way of doing things is to kind of not ban things, but to kind of regulate them into non-existence, or to, in other words, regulate them into the hands of the black market. But there you go. Anyway, chaps, we are coming up to 59 minutes in, and I have a curry waiting downstairs for me. And that's what's left of me third beer. So not to put too fine a point on it, what goes in must come out. So we're going to wrap things up there. Thank you once again for turning up and watching a fat, bald northern lad talk absolute nonsense, probably, for an hour. It's been a blast, and I'll keep on doing it till you're sick of me. But for now, time, gentlemen, please.